This is Mr. Sandell bringing you a video tutorial on how to create a keynote presentation on your customized tax system. The first slide will have a picture of you with your title and date. The second slide will have your very fancy equation with your stats for the graph displayed and the stats also typed off to the side. The third graph will not have those stats. They'll be hidden from slide 2 to slide 3 with a much larger graph. In slide 4, 5, and 6, you'll have 3 different incomes that you'll be calculating the taxes for, and that calculation will be shown on the side. You can use Desmos Calculator screenshots and the screenshots of the actual graph. The slide 7 will have a summary of those 3 calculations, and then finally slide 8 and 9 will have an analysis of who is helped and who is hurt by your tax system. Here's the grading of each of the slides. In Google Classroom, you'll see this assignment where it has both the Keynote file and a link to Desmos. If you click on that Desmos link, it should open to something that looks similar to this. This has a bunch of cool features. First of all, it has the previous year's federal tax brackets. Mr. Sandell will be updating these if you're watching this video in the future. If you need to update it, you can always click on this arrow, drop it down, and enter the new boundaries and new tax percentages. You'll notice that in the graph over here, there's these rectangles that represents the tax brackets, which aren't that important, but they are important if you're going to be making your own custom tax brackets. What is important is this curvy line that goes through the tax brackets, because that's the actual percent that you'll pay. Notice that this curvy line gets closer and closer to whatever this height is. Before I talk about that line, though, I should probably be talking about the axes. Notice that the tax percent is our y-axis, which means the higher we are on our graph, the more taxes we're going to pay. The lower we are on the graph, the less taxes we pay. The x-axis is our income axis, so the farther to the right you are, the more income you have. The richer you are to the left of the graph, the less money you have, the poorer you are. So essentially, you need to be thinking about every single person from society, so that's why you can drag around this point to see who is earning how much percent, or who is earning at $300,000, they have to pay 25%. Very few people are going to be up in this area. The majority of the population is going to be working down here. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at all of these different systems and comparing them to our current system. The first system that we have is the constant system. In the constant system, we have a constant rate no matter how much income you have. So for example, if I say, hey, everyone owes half of the money that they get from taxes and they have to pay the federal government. Notice that this blue line is always above this red curve. If the blue line is above the red curve, that means you pay more taxes in every single scenario. But you might choose to have some people benefit and some people not benefit. So if I come down here to 25%, or I guess we'll do 24%, notice that in some of the cases, the blue line is now cheaper. It's cheaper in your tax system because the blue line is underneath the red line when I'm over towards the right, but towards the left, the blue line is above this red curve, which means it's more expensive to the people that are poor. And if you want to drag this dot to the left, you can see that to the left we have anything under 260,000, which is the majority of people. I would guarantee that most of your parents earn less than $260,000 on their income taxes. Everyone over here has to pay more percentage. They have to pay 24% instead of whatever the percentage was down here. So for example, where's Mr. Sandell? I always like to point out where Mr. Sandell is. Mr. Sandell is about a 60,000. So there I am. Normally, I would pay 14%, but in your tax system, I'll have to pay 24%. I don't want to pay 24% of my taxes. I want the money for me to buy things for me. All right, so that's the custom tax system, or the constant tax system. As a reminder, each of these can be dropped down and you can edit things in here. You can turn things on and off, so the line can be turned off, on, whatever you want. Here's the formula. I want to go through each of these in turn before I start screenshotting and adding them to my presentation so that everyone understands what the systems are. If you already know what system you have, then you can skip ahead to the video to show how to start entering those things into Keynote. So after the constant, there's the linear tax bracket, or the linear tax system. Notice that it starts off at 0 and then it jumps up. And then it has some sort of maximum. So there's 3 different pieces of this. This is a piecewise function. And you can change whatever you want. You can say, hey, everyone has to owe taxes. So you start paying taxes at $0, and maybe we'll say that there's a maximum of 50%, and I can change it so that the slope is a little bit lower. I can drag this down a little bit. And I can say, perfect. All right, so in this tax system, I can drag this and find where the intersection of the blue and red curve is. That intersection is right about there, about 24.5-ish percentage. Anyone making less than $270, if you're on the blue line, then you're going to pay less than the old tax system. Remember, red is the old tax system. But to the right of that, the red tax system is going to be cheaper than your system. You're charging the rich quite a bit. In fact, if they are making millions of dollars, they're going to be taxed half of their money. So that's that tax system. So in this system, I would say that the rich are hurt and the poor benefit more than the current federal tax system. What about an exponential system? In the exponential system, let's go ahead and move these out of the way so I can actually see. In the exponential system, it has this line that curves up really, really fast, and then it has some sort of threshold to say, okay, and then maximum of 50%. And you can say the cutoff is at that point. You can move the cutoff to any other point that you want it to be, though. So can I move this cutoff? I think I might need to edit this so I can move that cutoff, and I can change the slope. I can edit that in future years. And you can customize that to whatever you want. You can say the maximum is 60% or whatever else you are planning on doing. I thought you could move this. Oh, you have to move it up and down. Okay, so that's where the cutoff is. Perfect. So that's how you can edit that one. And then you can compare it to you're always comparing to the federal tax brackets. You can say, okay, this intersection occurs right over here. So the intersection is roughly 290,000. Anyone making under 290,000, the blue line is underneath the red line, so it's benefiting the poor and it's hurting the rich. This blue line is very high right up here at 54%, and they would normally be paying over here around 31, 32-ish percent. So it hurts the rich and it benefits the poor. What about a logarithmic? A logarithmic curve, let me just see it by itself, looks like this, where it slowly looks like it's exponential, and then it slows down, and then it's kind of reverse exponential. Again, you can modify this to whatever you want. You can change the maximum amount. You can change where that midpoint is, left or right. You can change the slope so that it's very, very flat, or you can make it very, very steep. And then you compare that again to your old federal tax brackets. You can say, okay, well, in this tax bracket, it's probably not very good. Basically, no one pays taxes until they make about $300,000. And then from there, anyone that makes, let's find the intersection of the blue and red line. The intersection of that blue and red line is about 650,000. So if you pay over 650,000, you're hurt. If you pay under 650,000, you're very happy in this tax system. All right, that's logarithmic. What about the max income after taxes? I remember that Ellery made this for us 2 years ago in 2021, that's when it was. This says if you make the max percent 100%, you take 100% after a max income of $120,000. So in this system, everyone earns $120,000. If you earn $1 million, too bad, you earned $120,000. You give the rest of it to the government. You can change where that max income is. You can say, okay, I want, if you can make $450,000, but no one gets a dime over $450,000. So that would be the max percent over 100%. But you can also change that to be something else. You can say, okay, the first 100,000, which would be right here, you get to keep, and then we'll change the max percent. Okay, everything after 100,000. I guess that's not quite true. I need to change this formula quite a bit, but it looks like after 180-ish thousand, then you have to start paying taxes. So you can change to this sort of system as well. But usually we leave the max percent at 100%, and you just drag the max income to the left and right and say, hey, everyone gets this amount of money, but not a dollar more. The rest of it goes to the government. That's kind of an interesting one. And then finally, the hardest code that I've done of all is your own custom tax bracket. This one is like, if I hide that one and turn on the red one, they look exactly the same. And that's because I tried to make them roughly the same. In this one, you can create your own tax brackets. You're saying, you know what? Those rich, they need to pay more money. You can drag this one up super, super high and say they need to pay 73% of the rest of the money after, we can drag this to the left and say after, I don't know, 475,000. You can drag these to whatever you want to make your own custom curve. If you really like the way that federal tax bracket works, but you just want to tweak it, this is for you. All right, so I think I've kind of given you the general overview of all these. I think now I want to be talking about which one would you, or an example of which one I would choose. All right, so in my keynote presentation, I've already done logarithmic, and you can probably just copy and paste the formula over there, but I want to show you something different. Let's just randomly choose linear. So if I choose linear, I'm going to select linear so I can see what's going on there, and I want to see how it compares to the federal tax brackets, and I want to go ahead and modify this. I really want, me personally, anyone that makes under 6 figures should benefit, and everyone that makes over 6 figures should be hurt. So I want the intersection to be down here at about $100,000. So I'm going to say $100,000. That's when you start making six figures. So 100,000 is right there. So how can I modify this blue line so that there's an intersection right at this point on this red curve? Well, I really think that everyone should pay taxes. So I don't want to say, hey, everyone gets a freebie up to a certain point. So I'm not going to drag that to the left or the right. I'm going to leave you at 0. I'm going to drag that to 0. And I'm also going to change the slope here. I'm going to do the slope at the very end. I think I'm going to say, what is the maximum threshold? I don't think anyone should ever have to pay over half. I don't think you should go down to 40 though. I kind of like 50%. 50% is the threshold. So let's go ahead and change the slope until I have that intersection right here. So I'm going to change the slope. It needs to be steeper, so I'm going to drag this up. Drag it up until I'm going to eyeball that intersection right about there. Okay, that's the formula that I want right here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my federal tax brackets. This is what I've decided on. I'm deciding on a linear tax of $100,000. And okay, just for the sake of demonstrating, because I know some people are like, wait, I do have 3 pieces. Right now I have 2 pieces. I have a straight line and another straight line. What if you have 3 different pieces? So just for the sake of showing you how to do piecewise functions, let's go ahead and say, that does change things, so I have to come back here and edit some stuff. Let's go ahead and say the first $100,000, the first $10,000 are free. So there's this, it's very hard to see, but there's this tiny little amount down here that's 0%. And then I still need my intersection to be roughly right there. Okay. Roughly 6 figures. So basically anyone that makes over 6 figures is hurt, and anyone that makes under 6 figures is helped. So that's the system I choose. Hide the federal tax bracket. Here is the working model of what I'm going to do. How do I start inputting this into Keynote is the question. So the first thing is I'm going to screenshot my final tax system. And I don't like this black line. I don't want to see where the linear tax is. So I need to edit my linear folder. So I'm going to drop this down, and I'm going to search for anything that's black, because that's what those black lines are. So I'll have to turn off those black lines. Scrolling down. Okay, I see something black, so I'm going to click on you. Notice it turned those off. I don't want this point of linear tax on 100,000 is this percent. I want to turn that off. So that's this point right here. So the point is turned off, but the label is still there. So I need to come back and uncheck label. Okay, this is exactly the graph that I want. It's just, there's no example information. It's just purely the tax system, and it has a slope and everything in here. Let's screenshot that. And I'm going to turn on my Keycaster, so that way you can see exactly what buttons I'm hitting. So Keycaster is starting up right now. Please be starting up. There it goes. And I'm going to hold Command Option Shift. I know there's a bunch, and then 4. Command Option Shift 4. Oh, no, that's not right. It's Command Control Shift 4. My bad. Command Control Shift 4. And it said $sign, but it's really 4. And then my cursor is changed into the crosshairs right here. And then I'm going to come down here to the bottom left and click down and hold and drag all the way up to the top right, and then let go. So I've taken a screenshot and I'm ready to paste this somewhere. So let me Command Tab all the way over to my Keynote. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to get rid of this. So I'm going to click on my old graph. I don't want that anymore. Hopefully I don't have Rainbow Wheel of Death. Get rid of that, and I'm going to hit Command V so I can paste in my picture. It's trying to paste. My computer is running slower because I am recording a video. It normally would run faster than this. All right, excellent. I have my picture. I want to make it as big as possible, so let's go ahead and just drag you up a little bit. Okay, that's a nice size. And it has all the key information. I need to enter what that information is up here, and that is going to be a bit harder to do because I think this is one of the hardest equations to enter up here is a piecewise function. There's 3 different pieces. There's a piece of 0, a piece that's linear, and a piece that's constant. So 2 constants and a linear all in one. How do I do that? Well, first, cannot be autosaved. Save anyway. I think that's going to work, hopefully. All right, so I'm going to come back over here to the max. The max actually is 50. I don't have to edit that, but I could edit that. I don't have any midpoints, so I'm going to go ahead and delete you. I do have a slope, and let's go ahead and type in the slope. I'm going to double-click on this text box to edit, and I am going to change this 6.8 to 1.91, and it's now times 10 to the -4. Okay, so the slope is now correct, and I want to, this is information that I need to type in case people can't see it from the back, so I'll go ahead and I could copy paste that, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to click on text, and I'll open up a new text box, and I'm going to just start typing immediately. So start paying taxes at, and then it's going to be the $10,000. Cool. So that's all the key information in case people can't read from the back. And I want these things, okay, I'm going to show you just for sake of showing you. All of these things are kind of random right now. I'm going to go ahead and align them. So I'm going to grab all of them by selecting, clicking down the mouse and dragging over all of them. I'm going to come up here to Format. I'm going to the Arrange tab, and I'm going to align them all left. And they're all aligned left. That looks not a lot nicer, but there's different spaces in between them. So I'm going to change the distribution and vertically distribute everything, and now it looks really nice. All right, so I have this slide is basically done. The only thing that I have to edit is this formula, and that is by far the hardest part of this second slide. That's why it's worth so many points. All right, in this equation, I'm going to double click on this, and this is going to open up an equation editor that is using LaTeX or LaTeX if you're pronouncing it the way that the creator wants you to pronounce it. So this is hard to do, but essentially I want to create a piecewise function. I'm not a LaTeX or LaTeX expert, so I'm going to Google how to do this. So I'm going to go to Firefox, I'm going to go to a new tab, and I'm going to search for piecewise function LaTeX. And it is spelled latex, but it's pronounced LaTeX or LaTeX depending on who you ask. And okay, look at this. There's a Stack Exchange question that's probably going to be answered. Let's wait for this to load. Necessary cookies only, please, and thank you. All right, as I'm scrolling down through here, this guy's asking, how do I write that? So that's kind of what I want to write, exactly like he's doing. And this is what he's tried, and it clearly doesn't work. It's a tiny little bracket. I want the cool big bracket. So what's the answer? So the top answer is this one. And I can just copy and paste you. So I'm going to grab you, copy, Command-C, and I'm done with that, so I'm going to X out of that. I don't need that anymore. I'm going to hit Command-H to hide you. I'm going to come back in here and select everything with Command-A, and then I'll hit Command-V. And you'll notice what my equation is. I can't see anything, so I'm going to drag this down. I can actually see what's going on. Please. Is it going to... There we go. Okay, I can see what's going on. I'm going to drag this so I can see it. So the first equation is 0, and that's 0. Okay, and that's for what x value? So let's get rid of this piece right here. That's when x is between 0 and 10,000. That's what I said back over here. Between 0 and 10,000, you pay 0. So I'm going to say between 0, I'll do the less than symbol, is less than or equal to. So you can't do less than or equal to like this. You have to do backslash LEQ for less than or equal to. When 0 is less than or equal to x, and that's going to be less than, it goes all the way up to 10,000. So 10, comma, 1,000. You don't really need the commas, but it's helpful to see how many thousands you're talking about since we're talking about such large numbers. So between $0 and $10,000, we pay 0%. What percent do we pay in the next tax bracket? Let's go ahead and get rid of this first bit right here. And we're going to say, in the next system, we pay this linear line equation, which I don't know off the top of my head. So I'm going to come up here and figure that out. So if I come over here, this is in the drop down of the linear function, and you can see, okay, everything between 0 and that upper bound of $10,000, L of S is this $10,000, I pay 0. That was the first piece of the piecewise function. The second piece of the piecewise function says, hey, I'm between that lower bound of $10,000, remember L sub S is $10,000 down here, and all the way up to this upper bound, L sub X. So where's L sub X? Let's find L sub X. L sub X. Okay, L sub X is, I'm just going to copy paste this number, is that number right there. So I'm going to just not let go of, no, come on. Grab all of you, don't let go of the mouse, hit Command-C. Okay, now let go of the mouse. I'm going to come back over here to Keynote, and all that equation, the equation goes right there. I don't want to fit, I want to first enter, the lower bound is 10,000, and it goes all the way up to, we don't want a less than or equal to, we want just a x is less than. And then I'm going to get rid of that 100, and I'm going to hit Command-V and type in that number. Why did I not do an equal to sign right here? It's kind of trivial, but usually the way that piecewise systems work is when you have a not equal to, the next piece has to be an equal to. If you have a not equal to, the next piece is an equal to, and vice versa. If this one had been equal to, this one would be a not equal to, just to clarify what happens at that spot. Trivial, but if you just type in what I'm doing, you'll get it right. Okay. What we need is this equation, which we don't have. So I'm going to come back over here and figure out that equation. That equation, if I scroll up to the top, notice it says between those two values, which I already typed in, I have the following equation. We don't know what that is, so I'm going to move you over to the right. And the equation is this thing right here, A times the quantity of x minus L of x. So I'll type that in for now, but that's going to be wrong. So I'll come back over here, get rid of equation, and paste that. That's super gross. Okay, normally it would be A times X minus L of S. That's what it looks like from Desmos, and I did an underscore here, but you don't need to type that because those are actual values. What is the value of A? Well, if I Alt-Tab, if I Command-Tab, sorry, all the way back over here, what is lowercase a? And if I just scroll down, I can find, A is that number right there. So I'm just going to grab U, Command-C, Command-Tab, back over, and get rid of A and say A was really that number. Cool. X is always going to be in there because X is the equation. L sub S is a number. So I'm going to come back over here, Command-Tab. What is L sub S? If I come, L sub S, that's right there. L sub S is 10,000. Am I doing L sub S? I am doing L sub S. So I'm going to say 10,000. Come back over here and say L sub S, get rid of U, and type in 10,000. Cool, so that's our equation. And you can see that down here, it's looking really nice. The only piece that we have to finish off with is this, bottom right piece. So when does this happen? First of all, it happens whenever X is greater than or equal to, so I'm going to say \GEQ for greater than or equal to. Whenever X is greater than or equal to that last number. So that last number, I'm just going to copy paste, Command-C, and then Command-V. Whenever I'm greater than that number, I'm going to do the following equation, and that equation is whatever that upper bound is. So if I Command-Tab over here, notice it says whenever we are to the right of X, this is kind of a backwards way of saying it, we are going to do this equation L sub M, which is your maximum percent. L sub M is 50%. So I'm going to come back over here and just say this is going to be 50. And now we are done with the piecewise function, except there needs to be an equal to sign. Notice that over here, this says L of X is equal to that piecewise function. So I need to do an L of X as well over here. So over here where it says begin case, you can say L of X is equal to this piecewise function. And I can update that. Cool. Well, this is obviously gigantic, so we're going to shrink this down by making it smaller. How much smaller? Let's try that. And I know it's a little bit laggy. Okay, there's our equation. Obviously, it's a little bit hard to see. How big can I make this without overflowing too much? That looks pretty good. Okay, and then I'm going to center this graph underneath. That's looking really good. Okay, we're finally done with slide 2. Moving on to slide number 3, we need a really nice high quality picture that doesn't have all this information. So I'm going to come over here, we're going to essentially delete you, and then go grab a nice picture over here in Firefox. So I need to hide where it says max of 50% because I guess I should Command Z that. In this, it doesn't say it's a max of 50. I don't want any information. I just want pure curves. So I'm going to come back here. How do I turn off max of 50? Well, that's a label. That's max of 50. So I'm going to turn U off, and I'll turn off the point as well. I just want that straight line. What else do I want to get rid of? These lines are not as important. I can just turn those off as well. They're not as important. Okay, they're kind of important because I want to see where it lines up on the graph. I want to see that it's right about there at, I don't know, 28-ish thousand is the cutoff. 27,100, 780. I don't want to see this slope point. I don't see start paying tax. I don't want to see any of those labels. So where's the slope point? Here's the start paying taxes. Let's get rid of the label, get rid of the point. Where's the slope? Okay, here's the slope label. Get rid of the slope label and get rid of the point. And this looks like a very nice high quality graph. I think I'm finally ready to take a picture of this. Again, that's going to be Command Control Shift 4. And my cursor will hopefully change to the crosshairs. There it goes. And then I'm going to click and drag over that entire area and then let go. And then Command Tab back over to this presentation. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that by deleting and hitting Command V to paste my picture. Please go. Takes a lot of work to paste into Keynote apparently, and I want to make this as big as possible. So first let's align it to the bottom. So align to the bottom, and then I'm going to make you as big as possible. So click down and drag that all the way up, and it kind of like locks on to a point, doesn't it? There it goes, locks on, and then I'm going to align it and go center. Cool, so there's the giant graph of that percent. All right, now it's time for the calculations. So I'm going to come back over here, and the only thing that I'm going to turn on is all those black lines and those black labels. So, and I'm going to change my income to $20,000. So I need to turn on those black labels. Let's come back over at Command Tab. Where were those black labels? And it was right here. So it was this one. I'll turn on label. I'll turn on black line and black line. Okay, now I can actually see what's going on here. and I can drag these around. So I don't think I need to edit anything else in here. So I'm gonna come back to the very top up here where it says linear, and I'm gonna click on the arrow. We're done editing all the properties of linear. What we just need to do here is change our income. I could drag this to 20,000, but it's even cooler and faster to go over here and type in 20, 1, 2, 3, 20,000. And there's our picture. I'm just going to screenshot that. In fact, I'm going to drag this a little bit to the left because I want the dimensions to be a little bit nicer on our computer. So I'm going to hit, oh, actually, we need some calculations. So I'm going to drag it like this. This will give us room for some calculations. So Command, Control, Shift 4, lots of screenshotting. We're going to screenshot that picture and drag over that entire picture, sorry. And Command Tab back. Get rid of, well, I'm going to get rid of that picture in a sec. I'm going to try to make it sure that I have the same size. So I'll hit Command V, and it will try to paste for us. There it goes. Right now it's in the wrong spot, so I'm going to align it to the left, align it to the bottom, and I'm going to stretch this until it has the same height. So stretch you until we have the same height right there. And I'm going to click on the background image and delete. Cool. So now I have just my image, and I need to do some math over here. So here's how I do the math. Over here, I'm going to make sure that I have 1.91% because that's the correct percent. So I'm going to come back over here and change this to, oh, I need to double click. I don't know if my computer's just going slow. Okay, this needs to be 1.91% of 20,000. So how do I do that? I'm going to go to Desmos. And by the way, this is kind of annoying. I think the text needs to be left aligned, so it stops trying to center everything. Same thing down here. This needs to be left aligned. There we go. I need to recalculate that. So this obviously is the wrong calculation. So I'm going to come back, Command Tab, and you can actually do it down here. This is a scientific calculator. So I'm going to just type it down here and hopefully that'll be okay. So I need to do 1.91%. So this is getting in the way, I'll move you up here. 1.91%, percent is divided by 100. So now it's a percent, and I'm going to multiply, Shift 8, multiply that by 20,000. So 20, 1, 2, 3. And my answer is 382. So normally, taking a screenshot of this, it's going to be all wonky if this is down here in the bottom right. So what I'm going to just do is I'm going to do an equal to sign and type this in exactly, 382. So equals 382. Cool. And then from there, I'm going to click off of that so I don't have the cursor accidentally blinking and getting caught by the screenshot. I'm going to hit Command, Control, Shift 4, and screenshot that calculation. Let's Command Tab back on over. We're just going to show our work back over. Oh, I don't want to go to KeyCaster. I want to, here, let's go back to Keynote. And I'm going to get rid of that calculation. Just hit delete, paste that back in. Drag you into the right spot, make you a little bit bigger so it's easier to see for my audience. That's good enough. And then this number down here, 506.52, which is obviously incorrect now. I need to double click on you. It's now $382.00. Cool. So that's how much taxes we owe. We want all this to look nice, so I'm going to select everything by clicking and dragging over everything. I'm going to align everything to the left. I think that's what looks the best. And I'm going to distribute everything vertically so they're all nice and evenly spaced. Cool. And I'm done with this slide. I'm moving on to slide number 5. This is going to be calculation number 2. I think I might have made a mistake up here and said this is still calculation number 1. This is calculation number 2, and it's $100,000. So this picture obviously has got to go. Let's Command Tab back over, and we'll change our income back over here to 100,000. So it was 20,000. I change you for a 1, add on another 0. This is now 100,000, and it automatically updates in our chart. Let's go ahead and take a screenshot. Command, Control, Shift 4. Take a screenshot of all of you. The cursor is going to change to a crosshairs. Click down and drag over the entire picture, let go, and it's ready to paste. Command Tab back over, Command V to paste our picture back in, and there's our picture. Again, we want roughly the same height as before, so we're going to go align left and then align bottom, and we're going to drag you until we have roughly the same height right there. Click on the picture below, delete you, and we need to redo the calculations over here. So double click on the 4.21%. That percent has now changed to 17.19. 17.19. Again, I'm getting that from the picture over here. So 17.19% of 100,000. Here's an example of what we're going to do, and I'm going to come back and Command Tab. I'm going to type in, maybe down here, 17.19. Turn that into a percent by dividing it by 100, and I'm going to multiply that by 100. 100,000. The answer is 17190 equals 17190. Just retyping that all in verbatim so we can screenshot that, click off to a different area so we don't accidentally capture the cursor. Command, Control, Shift 4. crosshairs, there we go. Drag over your calculation, let go, and Command Tab back to Keynote. And we're just going to click off the text so it doesn't accidentally paste it into the text. Command V to paste it into the slide. We want this to be a little bit bigger so we can view it. And I think right about there is a good size. Let's go ahead and delete the old one. Move you up into some good spot, and then change our answer. Our answer now with dollars and everything in the correct format is $17,190.00. Okay, these need to look nice, so I'm going to click and drag and select all 3 of these. I'm going to align them all left, distribute them vertically, and it looks really nice. And I can go back and see my handiwork, goes from you to you, and then finally we have calculation 3. I think there were 2 mistakes when I originally made this. This should be calculation 3, not calculation 1, and this should be $1 million, not $100,000 over here. In here, we need to, again, get a new picture. So let's Command Tab back over and add on another 0. So if I add on another 0, it goes from $100,000 to $1 million, all the way to the far right. That's okay. Let's go ahead and screenshot this. Command Control Shift 4. Crosshairs, there we go. And click and drag over all of that and let go. Command Tab back on over. And we've got, it doesn't matter what I select, Command V. It's pasting. There we go. And I'm going to align you left, align you to the bottom, and drag you so that you have the same height as our picture from before, right about there. Seems good to me. Delete the picture underneath, so click on that one, hit delete. And now, what is our percentage? Our percentage on this one is going to be 50%. So click on you, double click, 50%. Again, these should be left aligned and left aligned. I don't know why they're not left aligned on this one. Maybe in the future years that will automatically be fixed. Let me change these to left aligned while I'm here. I'm going too fast for the computer while it's recording. Left align you, left align you. Okay, that's all seeming much better now. All right, so for calculation 3, 50%, we have to redo this calculation, so let's get rid of you. And 50% of 1 million. So I'm going to say 50% is going to be 50 divided by 100. That's 50%. That's going to be times 1 million. So 1 with 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's our answer, which is half of 1 million, which is 500,000. So surprise, surprise, it's 500,000. So I'm going to type in 500, 1, 2, 3, 500,000, and I'm going to screenshot that. I'm going to click somewhere else so it doesn't accidentally screenshot the cursor. Command Control Shift 4. To turn in the crosshairs, drag over that calculation right there, and Command Tab back to our calculation 3, Command V to paste in that image, and drag that image to be a little bit more visible, right about, I don't know, that's visible to me, and drag you right about there. Okay, we're going to drag over, select, not all 4 of those, but all 3 of these. Select all 3 of these, we're going to align them all left, and we're going to distribute them vertically. Excellent. We've done all 3 calculation slides now. Just taking a look. Boom, boom, boom. Excellent. Okay, now we need to add these all to our summaries. Oh, wait. We didn't finish slide 6. We need to treat this as 500, 1, 2, 3, and 0 cents. Perfect. Okay, now that's all correct. From here, we need to enter all of those details into our summary slide. So in our summary slide, the tax percent went to 1.91. So I'll change you to 1.91. Double click, please. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.91. And what was that amount of money? That was $382. I'll come back over here and say this was $382.00. So backspace all of you, $382.00. The next percent for $100,000 was 17.19. So over here, this is going to be 17.19. Enter our tax percent, please, computer. 17.19%. That's a 19.19%, Mr. Sindel. That's a 17.19%. And over here in the tax amount, you'll enter that amount, which is, should be 17.19 with some zeros, like, is it $17,190? I think so. And 0 cents, right? 0.00. 17,190. Oh, there's a typo over there. If you caught that, thank you. That should be a 17 right here. $17,190.00. Sorry for not catching that earlier. All right. And then finally, we had 50%, which was $500,000. So down here, we have tax percent. This is going to turn into 50%, and that is going to be $500,000. Edit you, please. It's going to be 500, comma 123.00. Uh-oh, not big enough, which means I need to drag you a little bit bigger. I think this button will do that, hopefully. Oh, no, that's not what I do. How do I make you larger? If I click on the table, it's hard with lag because I have to wait for a little bit. If I drag you a little bit bigger, there we go. That looks really nice. Summary slide done. All right. And then the analysis of who is helped and who is hurt. Notice that you're going to overlay this on the federal tax bracket for the previous year. So I'm going to come back over here to Firefox, and essentially I'm going to, I guess I have to turn off this black dots again. So sorry, we do have to go back in and edit some stuff. Go back to the linear. Actually, we'll leave it on. Watch this. I think it'll be helpful to figure out what that percentage is. So we'll turn on the 2022-2023 federal tax bracket so we can overlay it. And I'm going to drag this point from 1 million to that. Ooh, that's not what I meant to do. I want to drag that to wherever this intersection is, which is for me about, I designed it to be 6 figures, please. Okay, I think it's about 6 figures, so I'm going to change this to 100, 1, 2, 3, hopefully. And that's roughly the intersection. You can see they're very close. It's 0.4 versus 0.19, but it's very, very close. And you can, I don't know, this is kind of, it's kind of in the way. I'm going to turn off those labels because it's really annoying. I don't want to do that much work. Okay, whatever. I'm going to send it. Command Control Shift 4. It's good enough for me. It is kind of annoying that those labels are in the way. Maybe it'll be helpful for me later. Oh, come on. All the way up here. Ran out of room on the trackpad. There we go. And come back over here to Keynote. Okay, we're going to get... Actually, we're going to paste on top of that to have roughly the same size. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and align you left. Align you to the bottom. Change you to the correct height, which is right about there. Delete the picture in the back. Anyone that makes less than... And essentially you just need to edit this, please. And I'm going to say anyone that makes less than $100,000 will pay less taxes. And I can just edit this one. Okay, let me grab this picture so I can Command C this picture and get rid of this old picture. Click U, delete, Command V. And it appears in the correct spot. And I just need to change this one to 100,000. Again, your custom tax bracket or custom tax system might not be able to use this text. Like it might just hurt everyone, or it might benefit everyone. You have to change this. For me, I just had the intersection right there, so that's what I'm doing, the intersection up here. All right, let's go ahead and make sure I haven't made any mistakes. So I have a picture of myself. I have, okay, today's date is not the 5th anymore. Look at that, it's the 6th up here. So let me come back and edit the date. I wouldn't get any points taken off from that, but I do want to be as perfect as possible. So this is September 6, 2023. Let's look at the logarithmic. Oh, look, I made another mistake. This is not logarithmic tax. This is linear tax. So let me go ahead and change you to linear tax. And max 50%, slope is that. Start paying taxes at 10,000, and I assume that equation is good. I don't want to check it too thoroughly. I have a giant picture that doesn't have a bunch of text on it. It's purely just lines. Calculation 1, income of $20,000. Everything looks okay here. Calculation 2, income of 100,000. Make sure it says calculation 2, not calculation 1. Everything looks pretty good there, and that makes sense. Calculation 3, not calculation 1, and it's 50% of $1 million here. Everything looks good. And finally, a summary. Nothing stands out as being too bad there. Analysis, everything looks good. And in theory, I've done everything here perfectly, so I should get 100% on this PowerPoint, or not the PowerPoint, this Keynote slideshow. That concludes the video on how to do your Keynote for your custom tax system. Thanks for watching, guys.